Tonight is our February 8th regular select board meeting. The official meeting was to be last Monday, February 1st, but we canceled due to a snowstorm. So I welcome everybody. And the first thing I would need to do is to have a motion made for amendment that because Bob Fisher, our town attorney, is present here, I would like to have Bob speak right after I do the additions and amendments, and I need to have a motion for that to be done.
I'll do that.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you very much. So after I talk about the addition, then we'll go on to Bob Fisher. Okay? The addition that I would like to add is under committee report. It says zoning administrator, March 9th for 2020 public hearing, and actually we had put Bob's name under that, but right now I would like to be able to welcome Bob and have him speak and explain what he's come up with. And all of this with Bob Fisher here is related to the meeting about and the issue with the natural burial grounds that the Planning Commission has been working on for a few years. It had come to the Select Board a few years ago. We have dealt and met with Michael Mayer, who is here also tonight. He is the owner of the property. We have Merle here tonight, who's zoning administrator. So my request is that we deal with this issue first. And so now I welcome Bob. Thank you so much for being here, Bob.
You're welcome. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, now we can.
Great. So with regard to this topic of the adoption of the amendment to your zoning bylaws with regard to natural burial, it probably makes sense for me to just give a little history of how we got here and where it got stalled. So about a year ago, I believe it a little more than a year ago, the Planning Commission had their hearings on the matter and then passed it on to the Select Board. That I believe was in December of 2019. And then the Select Board warned it for a hearing, as is required by the statute, for March of 2020. And that was right before all of the COVID shutdown hit. And I think it was right after the town meeting in first Tuesday of March. So at that point, the board held a hearing on it, and I think Pete Van Loon was the facilitator of the hearing. And at that hearing, the minutes evidently don't show that the board adopted the change at that time. And I would leave it to your board's discretion as to whether or not you recall passing it at that time. But I wanted to at least outline for you what are three different options for moving forward on this. And as a backdrop to that, Ken Esty, I think it is, reminded me that with the COVID laws, he's absolutely correct that the deadlines can be extended by virtue of the legislation last year that allowed select boards to extend timeframes within which to hold hearings or take certain actions. So, but for that, we would be beyond the 1 year from the date of when the Planning Commission held its hearing. And by the statute alone, we would have to start from scratch and start over. But Ken correctly pointed out that there are the COVID, I'm calling the COVID legislation, but the extensions that were granted by the legislature due to the COVID pandemic As a result of that, the board has the authority to extend the deadline, so you're not out of time at this point, okay? So the three different options that I just wanted to lay out, one is that if indeed your board recalls passing this after the board's public hearing last March 9th, then one option would be to amend your minutes to reflect that they were passed. In that event, you would still need to wait 21 days before the zoning bylaw amendments take effect, because there's a 21-day period in which there is the ability for people to petition for it to go to a townwide vote. So that's option number one. Option number two is the board can tonight act on what was your hearing last year and say, we held our hearing, and perhaps you want to hear from other people tonight if there's any update with regard to it. But you could then act and either pass or not pass the zoning bylaw amendment regarding the natural burials tonight. And if you did that, then again, you still need to wait that 21-day period before it becomes effective. And the third option would be, because the statute calls for the select board to hold one or more hearings, because sometimes when you get a zoning proposal before you, the board wants to make certain changes to it. And when the board makes changes, it has to give those changes, re-warn it with the changes, and come back for another hearing. But you could warn it for a second hearing before your board, and then at that hearing, after the hearing is completed, adopt or not adopt, as the case may be, the zoning bylaw amendments. So those are really, from my perspective, your three options. I think from my perspective, the idea of changing minutes from a year ago, it seems like a lot of time has gone by, so I'm less in favor of that than options 2 or 3, but it certainly is an option, because I wasn't there, and if all of you had recollection that it was passed, then that would be an option to amend your minutes. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll stay tuned here.
Well, first of all, I thank you very much for coming and explaining this to us. It's been hanging over our heads. It's been stressful. We want to make the right decision, and we would really like to come to completion with this. So, Lynn, can you wait a minute? Lynn? What I want to do is to just review for a minute 2 of the options that Bob just gave to us, and the first one being if the board remembers voting that night. And
I really need to say something here. Thank you,
can you
Bob.
wait till I'm finished, Shelley, for a minute, please?
I think you need to hear this first.
Oh, Lynn, I'm sorry, I thought it was
I
Shelley.
apologize, but I think you need to hear the information I have first and a question to Bob before you proceed.
Okay.
I looked for the publication in a Brattleboro Reformer to substantiate that there were at least 15 days of warning before the meeting. And the documents that I received from the Brattleboro Reformer, the posting of the notice was on February 25th, and your meeting was on March 9th, and that's 12 days, not 15. So I just, I imagined that the information could have been given to the Reformer in an appropriate time, and because of COVID, they waited a few days. But at this point, Bob, I would ask you, in your exalted position as attorney, if you would give us some guidance whether we could assume that that notice was sent to the publisher in time, or if we need to have another hearing, as you suggested in one of number 2 or number 3, in which case we would have a hearing. We'd have if the select board posted that notice by the end of this week, the hearing could be happening on March 1st, and then it could be done. We could have 21 days after March 1st.
I would like to say something about that. March 1st is the time that the select board has to have an organizational meeting for the whole town of Newfane, because we're not meeting in person for town meeting day. So March 1st would be a very bad day for us.
It could be, if it was posted immediately tomorrow, then it could be on the last Friday of February as a special meeting.
So if I can just jump in, if indeed there were not the requisite number of days notice, which is 15, for that hearing on last March 9th, then it is my recommendation that the board warn it for an additional hearing before the select board. I'm not talking about going back to the planning commission, but I'm talking about warning it for another select board hearing on the matter. The statute allows one or more, and it would be far safer from a legal perspective to simply warn a new one. And it doesn't need to be the Friday or the first, which is the day before town meeting. Maybe you put it off to the week after town meeting. So long as you have 15 days warning, you're in great shape for that. And then the board could hold its hearing and then adopt or not adopt based on the board's decision on that. Mm-hmm. But I do think you run the risk of, if you were ever faced with a zoning challenge that went to environmental court with regard to natural burial and somebody appealed it, and then they brought up as a defense in that case the proper adoption of the ordinance amendment itself, and they brought in, assuming what Ms. Forrest is saying is correct, I have no doubt you are. I have not checked the Brattleboro Reformer for the publications, but assuming you're correct on that, that could be an exhibit that potentially would defeat any enforcement or appeal case involving that natural burial part of the zoning bylaw. So it would be, in my view, whether you're for or against, I'm not taking any sides with regard to the actual merits of the natural burial, but it would be a shame to have a technicality of the adoption stand in the way of getting to the merits on such a zoning matter.
Bob, I have a technical question, please. When you say when it's 15 days, does that include weekend days or just business days?
Yep, it's 15 calendar days.
Okay, thank you. Well, in terms of setting a date, Mike, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, the reformer is just one place of notification. I mean, we're supposed to notify it around town too, which I'm sure was posted. And I do remember voting on this as well as, I mean, when she first asked me about it earlier, I don't remember that, didn't, but as I sat here, I remember Mike was here that night, Michael Mayers, and he had there was a lady with him that had dark hair. I mean, I could see them sitting here now in front of us. And there was a few of us in here that night. And I remember after we voted, he got up and shook our hand and thanked us for doing it. And so, I mean, yeah, the reformer might not have had it the 15 days, but we also were supposed to post it all around town, different places. Now, if I remember rightly at the time, last year we had two papers that we used. We used the reformer and the other one there, the
Commons.
The Commons. And we put them in both the papers. And I remember the night, because that was the night you took over his chair,
Right,
and Pete Van Loon wanted to finish this up as himself.
right.
So he did the speaking for us on this. That was his last night here with us.
Yes,
But I said, I remember we did vote on it because they'd worked on it, and the town had, the planning commission and all of them had to change the bylaws because it wasn't in the original one when they first came to us the first couple times. But that night there, when we did vote on it, like I said, I remember Mike being here and he had somebody with him, and after we got all done, he got up and thanked us all for doing it. And that was, I guess, at the time we still could shake a hand. And so we shook hands and everybody left and that was it.
Mike wants to.
Mike, thank you, Michael. Mike, Mayor? Mike, you're muted. Mike,
There we go. Thank you, Mike. And the only thing I would add to your recollection was that with introduction, Mr. Van Loon, who was quite fastidious and working through details, he said, we appear now having, with a duly warned meeting. That was part of the language. So everybody was clear that it was official, this meeting that was being held. So it was the understanding of those present that a time frame had been appropriately honored. I'm just sharing my recollection. Thank you.
yes, I remember that.
I
Chris,
know.
do you have a memory of this?
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember voting?
Yeah,
We voted that night.
I think so.
I mean,
I
I
almost read to it, but I'm almost
I mean,
positive.
there really wasn't a lot to vote on because, I mean, when it finally got into the play,
Right,
you know, and everything was put in place, it's pretty much, it was a done deal.
yeah. That's what I remember. Shelley, what do you remember?
I do kind of remember that conversation and everything, and I thought it was the same as what Michael had said.
Mhm.
I
I mean, I have that memory also.
I'm looking through my notes, my files. I don't see anything that I've made a note of.
Yes, Bob.
Just a question, because Mike was saying that you publish not only in the Reformer, but what is your designated newspaper that's designated by the town for publications? Because if for instance, it is either the Reformer or the Commons and it happened to run in the Commons with 15 days notice, then you might be okay. But if you don't have that 15 days, despite the fact that Pete Van Loon may have said it's a duly warned meeting, if you don't have the publication of it, then you have a risk of it being overturned.
My question is, why isn't it in our notes, in our minutes?
Yeah, it wasn't, and I actually remembered the meeting very well, but I made notes that we discussed this and that we were supposed to vote on it after the meeting, and we didn't get a chance to. So that were my notes. But I do remember the meeting, I do remember the feeling of everybody here that we wanted this to pass. And my responsibility as chairperson is that because of COVID coming right after that, I really did not follow through on this, and that's my apology to everybody. But I cannot say for sure that we voted on it. But Mike and Chris remember, and Shelley, whether you had it in your notes or not, do you have a memory of voting on this?
I remember what Michael had said. I can't conclusively say that there was a final vote. I just can't recall.
Michael, Mayor,
Yes.
did you leave before we were supposed to vote on this, or were you here when
No,
there was a vote?
I left after there was a consensus around the room, and that's why I had a big smile on my face and shook hands, everyone personally,
Right.
for their diligence in having taken this across the finish line. And I actually wrote letters that evening to say, well, guys, it looks like we're in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those feelings and I remember the meeting, but,
We Marion, would we have made the vote in public?
Well, it was supposed to be after the meeting. It was supposed to be that the meeting was officially closed and then we were supposed to vote. And Pete
Was it a select board meeting?
No, it was that night, I think, right? Whenever?
It was a,
Well, ordinarily, you would have your hearing, you would close your public hearing,
Right.
have a vote of the board. So there would
That's
be a motion to adopt the amendment to the zoning bylaw and a
Yeah,
second.
I think that, I'm quite sure, my feeling and recollection is that we were saying that we would adopt the bylaws. I don't remember the word voting and then that's it. I know that, whatever Mike Mayor has said and Michael has said, I remember all of that. I cannot promise that I remember that we actually voted. I do know it wasn't in the minutes. I do know that. Shelley?
okay, so do we have it on tape?
No, that was not a meeting to be put on tape.
Okay,
It wasn't a long meeting either. I mean,
No.
it went fairly quick. That's why I
Yeah.
said, I think, like you're saying, you had your hearing, and then the hearings stopped,
Yeah,
and we voted to approved it, and then, as I said, because I remember Mike, before he left, come up and thanked everybody for taking the time.
well, it's too
and-
bad we don't have minutes on it.
But I believe it's, so anyways, if we've already approved it, so what do you say now, Bob? We just do like the amendment on it, so we don't have to, and go through the whole hearing again? We just do amendment to the saying that,
You're gonna have to wait 15 days.
Well,
because I mean, like I said, I know there's, when you publicize things, we do it more than one or two places. We've got to do it throughout the town. And,
Bob? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Bob?
I think the issue right now isn't so much whether you voted on it or not, but whether or not there was the requisite 15 days notice for that hearing. And if there wasn't the requisite notice, then I think your best bet legally is to warn this for a new public hearing, hold the hearing, and then after the hearing, vote on it. And if you're concerned about doing it with your same board as you have now, then you could possibly do this with 15 days by the last Friday or that Monday, and you could even have it Monday before your informational town meeting. I don't imagine, if it was a quick meeting before, that it's going to be any longer of a meeting this time. To know on that different people can show up. But from the standpoint of enforceability and adopting it, dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's, my recommendation would be to warn it for a new hearing at the board's discretion when that is. It just needs to be with 15 days notice.
Okay, I have a silly question, but something I need to know. When you say we need to have the hearing, what does that look like? Who's supposed to come and what are we supposed to do?
Yep. So it's the select board that holds a hearing on the proposed natural burial amendments to the zoning bylaw. So as far as who's coming, of course, anybody from the public can come, but primarily I think you would have the planning commission come to introduce the change and explain the change. Mr. Mayor may want to be there. As I understand, Mr. Mayor, you've been a proponent of this change, so obviously I think you would want to speak. But the idea of the hearing is to hear anybody interested for or against that proposed bylaw amendment. At the
Okay,
end of the hearing, when you close your hearing, then the select board can, somebody can make a motion to adopt it, and assuming it's seconded, then you have a vote and it's either adopted or not adopted. But be the process for that day.
okay, thank you. I can picture that now. Thank you.
Shelley's,
Marion?
Yes, Shelley.
Yes, I just found in our notes on March 16th, where there was the public hearing, no agenda. I'm just reading from my notes. Voting on the amended bylaw for conditional natural burial. And it looks like Chris and Angela, I have written down here. I don't know. Oh, maybe it was just discussing at that point. This was on Monday, March 16th.
Okay. That was,
So-
is that the first page of the minutes?
It wasn't minutes, it was just notes that I had written down.
Oh, notes that you have written.
Yeah, and I don't see anything else.
I thought she said ninth. I thought Lynn said something about the ninth.
And that was on March 16th.
Right.
Yeah. Merle?
I've got a copy of the warning. It says March 9th at 6 p.m.
Right.
Yeah, that was the public hearing, but we actually brought it up for, it's listed under approval of minutes. March 9th, 2020 public hearing.
You approved the minutes from that hearing. You didn't
Okay.
approve the change to the bylaw.
Okay. The best I can offer.
Also
That's-
note that-
Bob Fisher?
Oh, sorry. In that notice for the March 9th hearing, that notice was, I believe, signed, and what is it? You have it right there, February 15th, 16th, somewhere there.
February
The
14th.
former just didn't get it into the paper in time.
Oh,
Right.
I believe, what the date, no.
So
So
even if Winetta sent it to the Reformer on time, it counts from the day it was published in the Reformer.
That's right.
Okay,
okay. I guess we have to start all over again.
yeah.
No,
Well,
that's what
I
about
think
the
that this
comments they
time,
put
if we start all over again, it should be a pretty easy and not lengthy meeting, because we all know what we're talking about now. And if Michael comes, Michael Mayer, and explains some things, and Lynn Forrest as a member of the Planning Commission, who's been involved with this project for the last few years, represents the Planning Commission, and then we have the Select Board. I don't think it'll be too long.
Just my only question would be, in light of the COVID pandemic, if there's any regulations about burying people that may have had that, but that would be a state issue, kind of law or something,
Mike?
wouldn't it be?
Mike?
I can speak to that, Shelley.
Okay.
Quite a few people have been asking that question around the country, and what the National Council, Green Burial Council, has established, basically by consensus from various state health officials, is that burial happens as it would normally happen, and unless there are other circumstances that indicate there is contagion beyond what we now experience, there's no additional consideration there we have to worry about.
Okay. And this is only for private burials in private residences, correct?
No, I'm speaking generally about putting.
No, I'm talking, this is for, we're agreeing that it's okay for people to, in their private property, be able to bury people, their
That's
family
more-
members.
That's more specific than what the statute, or that's what the amended bylaw would talk about. It's simply, and Merle, you may want to speak to this, the language is very clear that it is simply allowing natural burial as a special use or as a conditional use in resource district. So any project then would build on that, as long as the zoning bylaw allows the conditional use. But you're getting to a level of specificity that we are not speaking to right now.
Okay,
Lynn Forrest, please.
My understanding, and Bob, you might correct me, but my understanding is that currently people can bury family members on their own property.
Yes,
Right, that's my understanding.
yes,
That-
mine too.
That's very clear in the statute, that the
Yes.
state of Vermont has always allowed that.
Okay, so just as a conditional use, that would mean what? Just for an update for everyone to understand.
So a conditional use means that before anything happens that's in those categories, it is reviewed by the Developmental Review Board. And,
Okay.
and they go through what the requirements would need to be for anything. It could be for a home business, or it could be for this natural burial. So it goes through a review, as opposed to some things in the zoning bylaws are immediately allowed. And
Yeah.
then things have to be
So there will
conditioned.
be a discussion around it even further.
The change is that allowing it in the resource district instead of just
Right.
village and the rural district. That's the only change.
The only change. Okay. Thank you.
So is anybody willing to make a motion at this point so we can also discuss it about setting a new meeting? Where
I'll
we
make
would-
that motion.
Okay, Michael, is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
You second, okay, any further discussion? And at this point, I think we just have to set a date, although Bob is raising his hand.
Well, I was just gonna say set the date, but you're ahead of me already.
Okay,
Now, I think if we're gonna do it, we should do it to the ones that are already voted on this.
yes, I do
Because
too.
if not, we're gonna have I can see it dragging on again.
Yeah. I would recommend that we do it before, not on March 1st, but before that.
I'm not going.
The planning commission meets on the February 25th. If you wanted to co-join with our meeting, that'd be great.
That's a Thursday,
That's a Thursday at 6:00.
okay.
So if you wanted to meet, say, at 5:30 on that day, that would be
Okay.
great.
I would be available. Chris? Would you be available?
I don't know, matters on the weather.
That's true. Everything depends on the weather. How about if it's not snowing? Would you be available?
Yeah,
Mike, would you be available? Thursday, the 25th.
I think you better have
Shelley?
a snow date just in case.
Yeah,
That would, now we can just go to the planning commission. If it's a snow that day, we'll have it the next night or whatever, you know.
yeah,
I wanna see this thing get over with before we get a whole new board and then we have to start explaining to them.
yeah. Shelley, would you be available Thursday, the 25th?
Yes.
Okay, so can we make it Thursday, the 25th? And if there is snow, I'm not available the 26th, but maybe other people are. How about Monday, the 22nd? How about Monday, the 22nd?
It's not enough days.
Not enough days.
Oh, it's not enough days, okay.
Yeah, and the warning would need to get into the paper almost immediately to be able to do it on that Thursday. So it would need to be in the paper on Wednesday, the February 10th. So if the paper can't publish it on Wednesday, February 10th, you're gonna have to move the date over.
Yeah, so Renetta, can you call the paper tomorrow, the Reformer,
Yes.
and ask if you can put in, that we need to have this done at a certain time and that it's published, otherwise we can't do it.
Well, I said I'd almost still check with the Commons just for the hell of it, because at that time, like I said, the year before, we were using both papers. And it just had gone into that one in plenty of time. Maybe we're doing something we don't really need to be doing, is all, because, like I said, there's other places around town that we publish it too. And just because the Reformer didn't put it up in time.
I have a question, Bob. Doesn't the town have to go by the newspaper that they have appointed as the official newspaper?
That's what I'm saying. At the time, we had two papers. We used the Commons and the Reformer there for a while. And then we switched, when we got the new board in March, of that year. We went with just the reformer this time. Before,
I
prior to
just-
that, we had two
I did a
papers.
search on the Commons and I do not find any notice of public hearing for that period on the Commons.
Okay,
All right, let's move
I would
on.
suggest to Winetta that if you're going to call the reformer tomorrow, it would be good to tell them what happened the last time, that you sent it in early and it was published too late.
Okay.
So
and we need
really
a follow-up.
Yeah, we need to have a real commitment and a follow-up to make sure that it's the date that you need it to be on. 15
I've been
days.
in conversation with the advertising person for public notices at the reformer, and I'd be happy to follow up on that.
You would like to follow up and have Winetta
Okay.
order it and you will follow up.
I can work with Winetta on that.
Oh, that's perfect. Are you available tomorrow to talk to Winetta about this?
I
Okay.
am.
Great, thank you. So without the snow, it would be February 25th at 6 p.m., special meeting.
At 5:30?
No, 5:30.
Oh, 5:30, sorry. 5:30. And I don't know what we're gonna do.
It'll be a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, Zoom meeting.
It'll be a Zoom meeting just like what you have right now, only it's called a hearing.
Yes, and we don't need to have BCTV here for that.
I think they're really busy right now, but it wouldn't hurt. But BCTV records, you know what, I would say, why don't you do it at 6 o'clock? Because BCTV has been recording the planning commission meetings, and if Nolan is available to do that, he would be recording it anyway. So I'll connect with Nolan and make sure that he's available to do that.
Okay. Because the next available date would be either Friday, February 26th, or Monday, March 1st.
If the Brattleboro reformer requires 3 days from the time I send it, if I sent it today, and they still require 3 days before they publish it, it wouldn't be done before Thursday because of the setup and everything.
So are you saying we
So
don't?
I'm thinking the earliest that you're going to get a confirmation would be on the 1st, because they do require 3 days from the time I send it to the time it goes to print.
I don't see why I know that everybody's got their weekends, but you could also have your meeting on the Saturday or Sunday. There's nothing saying that you can't have a public hearing on a weekend.
That is correct, but I think it's good for you to have your snow date here, but I would also check to see if the reformer, based on the fact that the last time they didn't publish it on time, might be able to have an exception to that 3-day rule, Juanetta, and
Okay.
get it actually in the paper for Wednesday. If they can't, then at least do it for that Friday, the 26th or the 27th, or maybe the 1st, Monday the 1st. But I leave it to you as to which day you want to do that, but it's good to have that snow date here, just in case the reformer can't accommodate you.
May I suggest, since Lynn, you have developed a cordial and effective relationship with a key person there, that you find out tomorrow morning whether exception can be made, given the hoops we've already been through with this case. They might very well be able to do it the next day. I've been able to have things done in the reformer on 24-hour notice.
Yeah. So if you could if you wanted to set the 25th, let me see, that would be, set the 25th as your first option,
Yes.
and then pick your second date, whether it's the 27th or the 28th, and then you have a third date as your snow date.
Okay.
once we know what we can do with the reformer, we can set the date in the hearing and change it at that point. I think it's certainly appropriate to vote on picking the date that would the
Do you want to set the snow date for Sunday, the
reformer will be able
28th?
to publish. Bobby,
Lynn?
yeah,
I was asking, would you want to set a snow date for Sunday, the 28th?
that's fine with me.
How does that work for people on the select board?
I should be out of church by then.
Can you do that? Chris? I'm gonna... Chris? Yes? No? Yes. I'm taking it as yes. Okay.
So what date are we setting as a snow date?
Sunday, the 28th, after church.
Okay,
So you're voting now on a hearing at 6 o'clock on February 25th,
No, you said 5:30.
or 5:30 on February 25th. And if that's not available, what would your second date be?
Sunday.
Sunday, the 28th, February 28th.
That's the snow date, right?
What?
the snow date.
That's the snow date.
If they can't get it in time for a meeting on the 25th,
At 6 p.m.
okay, at 6 p.m.,
At 5:30.
5:30, Lynn, you keep saying.
It was
No.
5:30.
You said 6
I
p.m.
originally said 5:30 and I said 6 p.m. so that it could be recorded.
Right. Correct.
It's at your pleasure, whichever time. But I have
So
one date that Lynette and I will work with for the 25th. And if we can't get it published for the 25th, what date do you have between the 25th and the 28th as your second possibility?
Well, we said Sunday, the 28th as a snow
As a
day.
snow date.
Oh, you mean as a,
Use that for the same day.
yeah. Use that for the same day. Excellent.
All right, great, thank you.
We'll pray to God that day it don't snow.
So can I just confirm, are we having this tape so we start at 6 or do we start at 5:30 without the tape?
Somehow I think it would be good to start it at 6 because we're so used to that time. And Lynn, if you're having a planning commission meeting at 6, this is part of planning commission.
I think Ken will be ecstatic if we can have this hearing at 6 o'clock on Thursday.
Yes, I want him to be ecstatic.
Totally.
Okay, so it's 6 p.m. on the 25th,
Yes.
Zoom meeting.
What time on the 28th?
Oh, on Sunday, what time? Lynn,
2 o'clock.
whenever
I'm totally
proposes,
open,
how about 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
Is that good for everybody?
Yeah.
2? Yes,
Yeah.
Shelley?
It's good.
Okay, 2 p.m.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, Mike, Mayor, are you fine with all of this now?
I am fine with all this now. Thank you, everyone, for persisting.
Yes, and Bob, thank you so much for coming. It's been a tremendous help. I think we can all breathe
You're very welcome,
easy
and
now.
thank you, Lynn, for pointing that out, because as much as I would for the board to handle it tonight, without proper warning, I think we'd be in a real pickle come down the road. So I appreciate everybody's help.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. I did not know that. Thank you so much.
I just wish I had had it before, but thank you very much.
Madam Chair, can we ask Lynn to get word out to everybody at this meeting and other interested parties as to what she is able to establish with the reformer on publishing date?
Yeah, I think you and Winetta will be in touch. And then Winetta, if you could email us right away when you know, the select board, and then we'll get the information to Ken, and Lynn will tell Ken, and we'll tell you, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Bob, thank you so much. You're welcome to stay, but
All right.
Thank you, Bob.
we appreciated your company.
Have a good
and
evening,
your
everybody.
Support.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, while we're on the topic, and Merle is here, we had asked Merle to come because he also was involved with Mike recently with having some plans, maps. Would you want to speak a little about that? And then you can also go home or relax tonight. Merle?
What forms you talking about?
I'm sorry, what?
Which forms you talking about?
Well, you were showing us the maps the other day. Do you remember?
Oh. For the natural burial?
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
there anything
this-
you want to add about this tonight?
Not much to add to it. He gave me a registered survey showing the 5.2 acres that he's going to use with the burial locations mapped on that plot plan. So, and he's got documents from the land trust allowing him to use that as a cemetery. And beyond that, he's made a good application this time around.
Yes.
And this was the one last barrier to getting this into the DRB.
Okay. Well, thank you, Merle, for attending tonight. And I hope you have a good evening. And thank you for all your help with Michael Mayer on this.
Alrighty, good
Okay,
luck.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Merle.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving back up to the
Performance.
order of the agenda, and that would be approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, we had one other item from the planning commission, if we could just kind of scoot it in there. I have a meeting, another meeting following this, and that is to introduce Kate Gehring as a potential new member of the planning commission.
Didn't we do that already? Or no? We voted to have Kate on it, right?
No,
No,
I thought we voted on this.
she's a new appointee from the planning commission.
No, I know that. I thought we voted for Kate to be on the
no,
planning.
that was Jane, I think.
That was Jane.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So Kate's here, and
Yes.
And so I'm introducing Kate, and maybe she could speak just a little bit, as eloquently as she normally does.
Welcome, Kate.
You're muted.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you.
I will just say that after Ken told me more about the Planning Commission's work and his goals in particular, and then attending a couple of meetings that I really enjoyed seeing the group in action and what everybody's doing and how they're doing it. And if I can be part of that and contribute, I would be, if I can be helpful with that, I'd be very happy to.
It's a hard-working commission, and they have great people on it.
That's clear. I hope I can do right by them, but I'll do my best.
Does anybody else?
Do you have questions for me, or would you like me to say more?
No, it's fine. Go ahead, Shelley.
Yeah, just, where you live and how long you've lived in the area, that sort of thing.
Sure.
What you do.
Sorry, I'm supposed to be at a school meeting at the same time. I am in Williamsville. My family has been here for 5 years. We are have been part-time for the most part. This last year we've been here pretty much full-time. We're in Williamsville, right off Baker Brook Road, and we love the place and our community, and are trying to figure out how to, I guess, community. Does that help?
Sure.
Did you freeze?
Yeah, I got froze.
Or did I freeze? Sorry, my internet's a bit funny today, so it will be me.
Okay. Sounds good.
You're also welcome to join any select board meetings because of open law meetings. Anybody's allowed to attend, so you don't have to call and make an advance commitment or an announcement that you can come. You're welcome to join in at any time. You're welcome to come to town hall whenever you would like. Winetta, who is the administrative assistant to the select board, also works with the planning commission, so you can come in and talk to her if you would like. And welcome.
I have one other question. I just noticed, Kate, that you said that you were here part-time, maybe full-time. So your residency is in Newfane, correct?
Right now it's in Williamsville. I mean, full disclosure, I have not always been a local voter, but my family is, we have been there for most of the last year and are doing our best to participate as much as we can. We have a complicated work situations between my husband and me.
So I guess I would refer to Lynn. I mean, the question about her being here as a full-time resident or not,
if
that doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. The statute allows, as long as it's a majority of voting residents, or residents whether they vote or not, that's perfectly fine to have
Okay.
on the planning commission. And we are so happy to have Kate.
Shelley, to be clear, I discussed it with Ken and made sure everybody knew about that.
Well, I'm just asking as a public, for the public would know,
Understood.
Yeah, just to clarify it.
I make a motion, we appoint it to the board.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? No, so all in favor for having Kate join the planning commission, please say aye.
Aye.
For a one-year term, I'm
For
sorry.
a one-year term.
Thank you.
Okay, aye.
Aye.
Okay. And Mike said aye, and so it's,
I said aye.
and
Yeah,
Chris said
Chris
aye.
did.
So it's unanimous. We welcome you to Newfane and to the planning commission.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're
Look forward
welcome.
to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're getting back to the agenda. And we need approval of the minutes for March 18th. Is there a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any conversation about the minutes? Discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 I'm
Any
sorry.
opposed?
It's not the March 18th minutes, it's the January 18th minutes.
Well, it says here March 18th.
We want the January 18th minutes to be approved, not the March.
Yeah, so I still approve it.
Thank you.
So there's a correction on the agenda then
Yeah.
for
Okay,
January 18th.
Correct.
is there a motion to accept the minutes of January 18th?
Yeah.
Second it.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, approved. Okay, road business. Jay, thank you so much for sitting here for quite a while we were dealing with another issue. We welcome you. And if you could give us your road foreman's report, and then if Chris has something to add, we will do that also. Thank you, Jay.
So I forgot to mention in the last meeting that the work on Adams Hill Road that we put out to bid was completed on time and it looked very good. The propane truck was able to get to the house on Friday afternoon to fill it up before the house froze. The Depot Road culvert, the foreclosure auction for 254 Depot Road was postponed when I got there until February 18th, which is not ideal. Bob Fisher's trying to work with the bank's attorney without much success at this point. The delay is already costing us money because the cost of doing this just continues to go up as it drags on. So we'll plan on going on the 18th to see what happens, and maybe Bob will have something in the meantime that he can help us with. But the pedestrian scoping study grant for Newfane Village, if we want to apply for it, is expected to open up in late April and be awarded in late July. The grant would be for $40,000 with the town share of $8,000 that we'd have to budget in next year. At that point, you'd have a plan to be able to apply for grants to do permanent pedestrian crossings and upgrade the sidewalks along Route 30 through Newfane. Is that sound like something you want to continue to go forward on, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think we ought to.
Are we
Yes, I
talking
do
about
too.
sidewalks on Route 30?
It'd be sidewalks and crossings and the whole thing. They'll do a whole pedestrian study for that whole area just to make sure that the crossings would be where they're safe and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll get a plan and then we have to break it down and put it in, right?
Then you have to apply for grants to try to pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't apply for grants until you have the study done, so.
Okay, yeah.
Well, it sounds good to me, and Mike
Okay.
and Shelley.
Do we take a vote on it?
Do you need a
Let's take a-
vote, Jay?
It's up to you guys. I can, before we actually send it in, I can bring it back up or however you want to do it. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
One of the people that's working from the village said he would help do paperwork if need be. So I may try to get him to help us with this too. So I don't know how much work it'll be. I'm not sure yet.
Well, I think with the change of the guard here, potentially, it would be good to make a vote on it so that it does go through.
Okay.
I think that's a smart idea.
I make a motion, we do it.
Second it.
Okay. All those in
I'll third
favor
it.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion's passed and the voted on. Voted on.
On
Thank
the
you.
sand salt shed, Bell Engineering has completed the specifications and they're in the process of being reviewed by the state at this point again. There's a lot of reviews go on, I found, over the last couple of years. And then the V-Trans gave us extra funding this year because of COVID, and I need approval to use it. And this is, if you have my report in front of you, these are the
Yeah.
things I think would benefit the town the most, which we're always short of
I
money
think
for
it's this, Chris.
guardrail work and so
That's right.
forth. So this is what my suggestion is to do with it.
Oh, no, this
What was
is
the
not it.
what was the name of that again? I'm sorry.
It's not it. Forget it.
The money,
Yeah, the grant or
it's V-Trans, instead of giving out the normal grants that they do every year, they gave every town some extra COVID funding to kind of help with some projects.
okay.
And it was $37,000 they gave us.
And what are you going to earmark that for?
So the first thing was the leaf blower that Dummerston's helped us over the years. But we kind of need to use it as we grade roads in the falls. So in all the stone line ditches, we really need to keep up with getting the leaves out of them.
Yeah, so you need one for yourself, right?
We need one for ourselves. So this is one that we don't need a tractor for. It can work on the backhoe or the loader. It's got its own engine on it. The second thing would be more guardrail work. We started on Depot, redoing the guardrails, and it looks great where we went, but we could only go so far because of money.
Yep.
So give us an extra boost to be able to continue up Depot.
So
And
how much for the leaf blower? I'm sorry.
leaf blower's $8,000.
Yeah.
The guardrail work was $18,000.
Yeah.
Extra culverts, $6,500. And we need to build a new sand screen, and the steel to build it is $4,500. And that comes up, I believe, to $37,000.
Okay, sounds good. Found money.
Yeah, it was a nice little treat that they sent out.
I make a motion,
have
we
Jay
do it. Yeah, second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of using the funding, please say aye.
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 Okay, that's passed. Thank you, Jay.
Sure. One more thing is, I made up a binder that was on the table. I don't know if you still have it there, but
Yeah.
it's got our bridge inventory. And it's the suggested work that the bridge inspectors feel is needed as we can afford it. I did it for my benefit as much as yours, as far as be able to kind of keep up with how things are changing as they inspect them.
Yeah.
So I included pictures of some of them. It's worth taking a look at. We have 31 bridges. We've got 23, I believe, that they're suggesting some sort of work on.
Yeah.
I think there's 8 that they feel we could preserve if we could clean them and paint them. And we're working towards that on Monroe Bridge, but to just do Monroe Bridge, that's $329,000. So I know all our other bridges are a lot smaller than that, but it's a lot of money. So just to kind of give you a heads up of some of the stuff that's going to be needed.
Yeah.
We're going to keep on bridges here for a while.
Right.
Jay,
Jay? I
what
mean,
about that, the one the state owns?
Yes, so the Green Iron Bridge, they had some really good pictures of, and I've been in contact with the state bridge person, Pam Thurber, and I'm waiting to hear back from her. I sent her a letter, and they, after Irene, when the bridge needed repairs rather than replace it,
Yeah.
signed an agreement with the town because it's historic. They would take over repairs of it, and we have to continue with maintenance. And it looks to me like the point that it needs some repair. And hopefully the state will agree that that's their responsibility. So,
So do they own the bridge? Is that what I'm understanding?
it's a historic easement. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
if it says who actually owns it at this point, it's just that they will cover all the major repairs, and we just have to make sure it's washed every year and swept off and so forth.
Okay.
Jay, did you read about the bridge in Troy, Vermont that collapsed?
Oh,
No.
yes, I heard about that.
Yeah. Went on fire, or no, the vehicle went on fire. That was yesterday, right?
Yesterday, the day before, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay,
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for doing the inventory on the bridges.
yeah. Did you,
So once you guys have all looked at that, I know when you're done, I'll bring the book back here and then I'll update it as they usually inspect most of our bridges every other year. There's a few they do every year. And I'll just keep making changes to it so we can kind of keep it always fresh as far as maybe at budget time, we'll bring it out again and look at it and see if we need to throw money towards one of the bridges or not.
did you take Shelley, can I just say something? Did you take the photographs, Jay?
No, the bridge inspectors take a lot of them, and I just pulled them from their photos.
Oh, they're very good. They could be in a museum, modern art.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not kidding. They look great. Shelley?
So my thought is it something that we should put up on the website for the town for everyone to see?
I don't know.
You want to give everybody in town a heart attack?
Ah!
No, they're that bad,
Well,
Shelley.
I always like the idea that people understand what's going on.
Well, there's a link to the V-Trans bridge inspection reports. We could post the link and then they could look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a
Yep.
good idea. Okay, does anybody make a motion, please, for Jay's report to be accepted?
I make a motion to accept his report.
Okay,
Second.
is there a second? Chris, I have a question. Do you have anything to add to the report?
No, I've already
You're fine.
said,
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Only
That's
one
it.
thing I would add, Jay, on that, if you got the money for the culverts, I'd order them sooner than later because with gas and oil keep jumping up. And culvert's gonna go up pretty good too.
Okay.
I know, or I'm right up and get them away, don't you?
Yeah. They aren't gonna rot there.
And just spend the money on it and get them, have them that way. You might even get a little better deal right now than you would in the spring, but
Okay.
like I said, by spring I think you'll find a jump because the oil's gonna go up some too.
Okay. All right.
Okay, administrative assistant report.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, Jay. Thank you for everything. Winetta?
I've been working nonstop to send the town report to the printers. Currently on schedule to proof the town report Tuesday the 9th. I expect the town report to be delivered by the 18th, which is next Thursday. Monday, February 15th is a federal holiday. Would the select board like to consider meeting on Tuesday the 16th at 6 p.m.? I have reviewed the town overweight permits that have come in. Processing has been the same day, and the current town issued permits will be expiring on March 31st, 2021. In preparation for our virtual informational meeting Monday, March 1st, BCTV will host a training session or a practice Zoom on Thursday the 11th at 4 o'clock. BCTV will be assisting with live streaming as well as helping us. They're helping Dummerston, Guilford, and Putney and Townsend. And I would like to let them know how grateful I am for all of their efforts.
I have a question that I've been noticing in the Brattleboro Reformer that different towns are either writing articles about or putting it in the back in announcements about having their town meetings being different this year because of COVID, and they're explaining how they're going to meet and where and when. Is Newfane doing something like that also? To put it in the, either write an article or post it in the Reformer?
I don't know, Marion, are we doing that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's us who does that or if it would be Carol. Have you heard anything?
It would be at the select board.
It would be select board to announce where the town meeting is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're already
Well, I
doing,
think
we're already doing that through our meetings, through the website, and we've already put up our warnings at the 4 locations
Yeah.
throughout town.
Okay. Shelley?
Well, I think we should put a notice in front porch.
Would you like to do that? I don't deal with front porch.
Who are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Shelley.
No, don't we have a front porch
Count.
account?
We do,
Winetta?
we do.
Yeah, so I would ask
already-
Winetta to put it up on the front porch.
Okay. Winetta, are you willing to do that?
I've already done that,
Oh,
but
you did it?
I'll continue to do it on a weekly basis when I post the,
Well, I would just
Agenda.
continue to post it maybe once a week or something.
when I post the agendas.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, may I have a motion to accept administrative assistance report?
Make a motion.
Second,
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
all right.
Aye.
I
Okay, that has passed, and thank you, Winetta, for all the work you've been doing on the town report. And now tomorrow, you'll be able to deal with making plans with Lynn to have this posted.
I'll
For the-
need your availability to sign the hearing, the public hearing.
Okay, when do you need me to be here?
Well, if you want to stay tonight, I can bring up the old one, just change the date and have you sign it.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, committee report, we did that already. Scheduled members of the public, planning commission, we did recommend appointing Kate Garrick as a new member. That's taken care of. We do not have any unscheduled members of the public. Old business, status of animal control complaint, and Mike Fitzpatrick reporting. Mike?
Well, I already reported it anyways, but I mean, nothing more to report except that I thought they're complying with what they're supposed to be doing. Then you had the report from,
The
Wyndham
shelter.
the
Animal
shelter
Control,
down
Humane
there about the dogs and everything too, so I'm satisfied with it, so I just think that we gotta send cars a letter saying that we've done and talked to them, and
Right.
if they have any more issues, to report it, or, you know, and like I said last time, I already told her that, you know, if they came down here, the guy really has a right to shoot their dogs, you know, which they don't wanna do, and, you know, we don't want it done, but, you know, it is an option.
So therefore, well, let me ask you a question. You were going to take photographs, did you?
She was gonna send me the photographs, yes. Took
Did
some,
you?
she took some, she was gonna send them to me.
To you?
I haven't got them yet, I'll get them to you.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's still, I would send cars a letter telling them,
Yes, we'll send a letter to the Barr family.
Car.
Carr.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Carr family, and we'll send a letter to Stephanie. And if you can get the photographs, or
Yeah.
maybe remind her.
she sent them to, I just didn't know, get them off my phone.
Oh, okay.
I would
Yeah.
also recommend sending the letter from the Wyndham Humane Society along with that letter for cars.
Right,
Okay, that's a good idea. Just
Enclose a
thanking
copy?
them for their
Yeah.
referral.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, thanks for talking to Stephanie, and we will take care of that, okay? Any other concerns about that issue?
one question I have is, does I imagine cars and the dog owners, they have a copy of the dog ordinances?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
Winetta had sent both of them. No. Okay, new business, is there any new business? We have correspondence, pay orders, and then we have an executive session, which should probably be a very short session. So we'll do that after pay orders, is that correct, Winetta? You put that on after pay orders?
Can we do it before? Because I'm
Okay.
not there with you guys.
Are you coming to do pay orders, Shelley, or not?
no,
No.
No, you can't do executive session because you aren't here.
She's.
We can't do it on the TV.
She
No, she
has
can call.
She has additional information regarding.
All right, sorry.
No, but she can call. You can't do executive session on Zoom, Shelley. You'll have to do it by calling in on Winetta's phone.
Okay.
So we'll do that when we complete our meeting here.
Okay. Well, what's the phone number I should dial?
365
Yeah.
7772 extension 4.
Extension 4. Okay.
So you want to do that before, or after pay orders? Before?
It's up to you.
For 4, please.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so we don't have correspondence, do we? Or is this
Well,
Winetta? What is
that's,
it?
that's part of the hazard mitigation that Jay is, getting applications for,
Okay.
but it wasn't brought up, so I'll put it back on the agenda for the road foreman for next week.
Okay, great.
Going back to the holiday, do you want to change the date of the meeting to the Tuesday, or do you want to do it on that legal holiday?
Okay, so Winetta's talking about Monday, February 15th, which ordinarily would be our meeting, but it's also President's holiday. And so would you like to do it Monday night, the 15th, or would you like to wait and do it on Tuesday, the 16th?
Okay, my question is the staff, would Winetta have the day off that day?
It is
Yes.
a paid holiday.
Yes, okay, so we need to move it
To Tuesday.
to Tuesday.
And can BCTV be here, Winetta?
I'll check with them on scheduling.
Okay, so then we'll change the date. Is that fine with you, Mike and Chris? To do it on a Tuesday? February 16th,
Thank you.
6 p.m. Okay. So then we're going to end this part of the meeting. We're taking a break and going to executive session. So actually, we can close the meeting in terms of BCTV being here.
Yeah,
Because
as long
we'll
as,
do
as long as you
payroll.
plan to take no action, no public action anyway.
Right.
Right.
So therefore, we're saying good night to everybody for being here tonight. And be safe, be careful with snow and ice, and we will see everybody on our next select board meeting,
Tuesday night.
Tuesday, February 16th at 6 p.m. Have a good evening.